Biomes Lecture. Today we're going to take a look at the biomes of the Earth, and we're going to be going through and just kind of get an overview from what we learned last year with Mrs. Worley's class in biomes, and add a few things here and there. Again, taking a look at the list of all the biomes of the world, you'll notice that there are many more than what we covered or what you covered last year. We will be covering in detail as many of them as we can, and in your notes you're going to notice that we are going to be taking these and we're going to be looking at each one, looking at the animals, 3 animals of each, 3 plants of each, and talking about some of their climate that they have in the biomes individually. Again, as we take a look at the biomes and climate, we take a look at the average temperature compared to that of the annual precipitation. And this here is a graph just showing the differences between the biomes. Now, in this, we will specifically pay attention to the terrestrial biomes, the land biomes. We will be covering very shortly, very briefly, the marine and the freshwater, but that will be in a different lecture in a different time. So let's take a look at some of the main ones that we are going to be looking at. Tropical rainforest. As you can see down here in the bottom, you see that we have around the equator is where the tropical rainforest is found. In here we're going to find lush vegetation and a lot of animal and plant life. The temperate deciduous forest, the taiga, the tundra, the desert, the temperate grasslands, now we're going to get started with our lecture and taking notes as we go through this. And we will take some time to click and stop and go as we answer some of these questions. What are biomes? Biomes or ecosystems are climatic conditions on Earth. Our first biome we're going to stop at is the savannas, otherwise known as the grasslands. Now these are characterized by their small or widely spaced trees throughout the plains. Now we're going to talk about the animals, and in your notes we will be jotting down the 3 animals that are found in the savannas or the grasslands. On your notes it'll be under the grasslands. The lions, elephants, the giraffes. The Joshua tree, the baobab tree, and the jara tree. Now, climatic conditions, what I want you to put underneath in your notes is that it has 2 seasons. A summer season, which is its rainy season, and then a dry season. And notice the temperatures really do not change much. Now from grasslands, we're going to go ahead and move to the desert. Again, the desert hardly gets any precipitation. 3 animals, the desert tortoise, the bobcat, and the coyote. Just like the roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. Great way to remember that the coyote can be found in the desert. Very adaptable. Some of the plant life include many types of various cacti, the kangaroo paw, the brittle bush. Now, the interesting thing about the desert is the fact that it does get very, very, very hot during the day, but because the sand feature and the sand loses heat very quickly, it can drop to freezing at nighttime, causing drastic change in temperatures, thus bringing about a lot of things that get lost in the desert don't necessarily pass away due to the exhaustion of the heat, but due to the drop in temperature and hypothermia. We move to the tundra. And again, the tundra has a very, very short growing season. It's roughly around 3 weeks to 4 weeks long. It has a permanently frozen ground known as permafrost. The animals of the tundra: caribou, the Arctic hare, and the polar bear, which studies have shown that the polar bear, by the year 2020 to 25, it is possible that the polar bear would become extinct on this earth. The plant life: shrubs, sedges, and last mosses. Obviously, all low-lying plants cannot have a very deep root system because of 3 to 4 weeks in the growing season, so everything must have a very short root system. Again, the growing season just barely gets above freezing to melt some of that top surface. We move to the rainforest. Year-round growth. The animals: the Bengal tigers, the king cobra, as well as many other snakes, the chimpanzee. The plants: the Bengal bamboo, the coconut tree, and the jambu. Again, the average rainfall is quite a bit higher than many other places, but because the daily temperatures really stay around the same throughout the entire year. Now we're going to move to the temperate grasslands, otherwise known as grasslands, and many of these we're not putting in our notes. I'm just putting it down because we continue and we count the grasslands as grasslands together. Um, we will do something separate with the temperate grasslands, so there is no note taking on this part. Many of these animals you'll recognize because they are very similar to what we have, since we are on the verge of the deciduous forest biome and the grasslands biome. move from the grasslands to the coniferous forest, also known as the taiga. The animals include the jay crossbill, the grouse, and the muskrat. The plants are going to have a lot of the coniferous trees, such as the evergreens, birch trees, and many low-lying shrubs. And move into the broadleaf forest, the deciduous forest. The animals include mountain lion, white-tailed deer, and the timber wolf. Plants include the hickory tree, beech tree, and the oak tree, along with many other deciduous. Now, a lot of the temperatures and the rainfall numbers are things that we are not necessarily going to be focused on during a test. You will be quizzed or tested on which animals belong with which biome.